Have you ever had a time where you were caring for a newborn, whether you were a caregiver or a parent, a new parent, and the time would come when you were caring for your baby and they just start crying, and you tried several different ways to take care of your baby and to help them stop crying, and no matter what you were doing, they just continued to cry, and you started to feel helpless, and you started to feel insecure in your ability to care for your newborn, and it probably made you feel really frustrated and overwhelmed. This happens to a lot of people, and I'd like to tell you about a time called the fourth trimester, which is coined by pediatricians as the first 3 months of a baby's life when they first come out of the womb. And it's a transition phase from life inside the womb to life out in the real world. I'm a CAPA trained and certified doula, so I've dealt with lots of families who have felt frustrated during this time, and I find that the tips I'm about to share with you are very helpful during the first 3 months of a baby's life. Just to kind of give you an idea of the difference between life inside the womb to life outside the womb, we can look at how a baby lives inside the womb versus what they encounter when they come to the real world. Inside the womb, it's very dark, and out in the world, it's bright. Inside the womb, it's quiet and muted, and outside the womb, it's loud, and there's lots of unfamiliar noises. Inside the womb, the baby has nourishment whenever they need it. There's no requirement of asking or expressing a need for nourishment. Where outside the womb, they're very dependent on other people in expressing their need for nourishment, and they're depending on others for that. Inside the womb, they have constant contact with their mother, and outside the womb, they have far less contact with their mother, even if they're spending a lot of time with their mom. So, to give you an example, if we think about life before there were books and people telling us what to do, instinctually, a mother would feed their baby when they were hungry. They would sleep in close proximity to the baby. There weren't separate rooms. There was no one telling them that their baby needed to be independent from the day they were born. So the baby was always close to the mother. And then another reason that a mother would keep a baby next to them is for fear that predators might come near them, because there weren't a lot of safe enclosures and things like that. So instinctually, the parents just met the baby's needs with no need for people telling them what to do. Dr. Harvey Karp wrote a book called Happiest Baby on the Block, and he talks a lot about the fourth trimester in the book. And he talks about the 5 S's to help parents during the fourth trimester. The 5 S's are swaddling, side, stomach position, shushing, swinging, and sucking. And I want to share some of the reasons behind those S's. The swaddling is something where you wrap your baby in a blanket, and it helps them have that secureness, that close, their body is close to them, kind of like in the womb, how they were kind of tight. They didn't have a whole lot of room to womb and to move. And if their hands, if you've ever dealt with a new baby, their hands, sometimes jerk out, and it wakes them up because it startles them, because that wasn't something that happened when they were inside the womb. One of my favorite things is for a new baby is the swaddle blanket. You don't necessarily need a special blanket, but I really like this because there is visual instructions on how to swaddle. Then there's verbal instructions, and the website swaddledesigns.com. There's lots of ideas about how to swaddle and effective ways to swaddle. One thing I should mention is that if you haven't started swaddling your baby from the first few weeks of life, you might not want to start later on, because it can be hard for them to adjust. The next one is the side stomach position. Laying your baby on the left side can really help them with digestive issues, and it can help calm them a lot. Or you can place your baby on the stomach and gently pat their back, because it helps with digestion too. You just want to make sure you don't allow your baby to sleep on their stomach, because it's not good. It's not effective sleeping position by the American Pediatric Association. The third S is shushing, and it helps imitate the sound inside the womb, where everything was muted, nothing was very distinct, sounds weren't very distinct. So shushing, or a fan, or even blow dryers, or vacuums, a lot of babies like that, because it mutes out all of the very distinct noises, and it helps imitate the noise inside the womb. The fourth S is swinging, or another car ride, just a way to just show that inside the womb the baby was surrounded by fluid and had that kind of movement when the mother walked or walked up steps, and it kind of created that movement for them, and it was very calming. So just to be able to imitate that by swinging or bouncing on an exercise ball where your baby's in your hand, car rides, lots of these things really help babies during that transition phase. The fifth S is sucking, which is instinctually a great way for babies to be comforted. So whether that's nursing or pacifier or a bottle, just instinctually it really helps the baby calm themselves. You can also let the baby suck on your finger or suck on their own finger. It's a very effective way for a baby to have an easier transition time into life. Another one that I really love is baby wearing, which is another really great effective way to help baby during the transition period because it takes care of a lot of the S's. This is one of my favorite carriers. It's called the Ergo. You just easily snap it on. With an infant, you would have a special infant insert, which I do not have at this time, but it'd just be something that helps the baby prop up a little bit more. I'm going to use this as my little prop. Put the baby here. Put the baby's legs a little bit around here. If they're newborn, you can put their knees up so they're against their stomach. Just make sure that the baby's head, you can see the baby's head and the chin is lifted so they're breathing effectively. You just go ahead and strap the baby on. And I really like the Ergo carrier because it really is one of the safest positions for the baby to be in with their knees up or straddling like that, because the front forward-facing carriers can kind of hang them by their crotch, and it can be hard for them to support their head when they're babies, so this is one of the better carriers for a newborn. And also, you can take it into toddlerhood because the baby can go on your back and things like that, so I really like that one. To kind of wrap it all up, I'd like to share a quote with you by the Childbirth Connection, which is an organization that helps parents before, during, and after the time in their life when the baby is born. That would be: the postpartum period can be both exhilarating and exhausting. As you and your baby get to know each other, remember that all babies have unique personalities with their own likes and dislikes. But no matter what their moods are, babies need to be hugged, held, stroked, and cuddled. So indulge yourself and indulge your baby. New babies cannot be spoiled by a lot of attention. So I hope I've given you some effective ways to deal with effective reasons why you should use some of these tips for the transition phase, and also some effective ways to care for your baby during the first 3 months of their life. Thank you.